everyone, and welcome to Dandelion Lessons here on Patreon. And I want to give a special shout out to my dandelions who support me here on Patreon, and our mutual decision to open up our dandelion lessons to the public during this time that the whole world really is grappling with the implications of this coronavirus. And we all are arriving from different places. It's having different effects on each of our lives in many different ways. And, you know, I said to a friend yesterday that it's sort of like grief, there's no one way to go about this, and it's affecting everyone in a different way. But one thing we can do when we have a few moments, even 10-15 minutes, is we can engage in a creative practice. And dandelion lessons are very much about that. We do a lot of different things here on Patreon. We do graphite lessons and pen and ink lessons and watercolor lessons and projects, and some are small and some are quite big. We've learned a lot. There's probably 350, 400 videos now of lessons. And how it works is that it's a subscription base, and most of us here pay $5 a month for a minimum of 12 video lessons, and those include 4 dandelion lessons a month. And then the rest are different kinds of techniques and projects videos. And I've been doing it for about 2 years now, maybe, not quite. And many of my dandelions have been here with me the entire time. It's been really quite an amazing thing. We also have a community section where we share our projects and our work, and we support one another and give each other feedback and encouragement. And so it's really a wide and diverse place. And we decided collectively by just talking about it, not everyone participated, but everyone had the chance to give their opinion on opening it up to the public. And I really think that by welcoming those of you who are here just to see what we're doing and to maybe try your hand at a creative practice, it's just a way to offer some peace and calm and beauty in uncertain times for each of us. So dandelion lessons are usually a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of just talking about different concepts that are important to me to share about the creative practice. And those things often sort of work their way into our daily lives as well. But the most important thing about dandelion lessons is that when we create them, they are meant to be created with twofold joy. And what that means to us here is that we receive joy by creating, by the act of creation. And we give someone else joy when we send it in the mail to them, or hand it to them at the checkout line in the grocery store, or at the drive-thru, or to our postal carrier, or to our healthcare worker, or to someone who just might need a little lift in their life. And it's just such a wonderful thing to create something and then give it away. And so remember those words, twofold joy. That's sort of what we aim for. So we're enriching ourselves and finding that moment to create some beauty and peace and calm in our life. It's very much like meditation, right? To be present in a moment with something beautiful. And then we have the opportunity to share that joy and peace with others and beauty. So I'm going to show you some of the dandelion lessons we've done over the past little while. They're usually done on small pieces of paper like this with any paints that you have. I'll talk about that in a moment. And we just do sort of this intuitive work, Sometimes it's a specific technique. Some things in here don't belong. Sometimes it's a specific technique that I'm teaching. Other times it's just creative and intuitive work with color. So anyone can do this. You don't have to have any painting experience at all, 0. It can be done by all ages and all skill levels. Even if you're an expert painter, you can engage with this practice. So these are some that we've done recently. And the beauty of them also is that we arrive to this practice as a beginner always, with beginner's mind. And that means we have no expectations of how our work will turn out. We're not trying to copy something, but we're simply engaging in the moment with our tools. Okay? And so what are our tools? Well, our tools are a paintbrush. So any paintbrush will do. Truly, any paintbrush will do, even if you have one like this that's used for crafting. That will be fine. A piece of paper, watercolor paper is best, but truly any kind of paper that you can find. And we usually work about 4x6. Okay, so this is just a piece of 4x6 watercolor paper. And then some paints. And today I'm using a box of paints that you can get on Amazon called Angora watercolors. There's 36 colors here. I think you can get them for $10 or under. And they'll last a long time. They're perfect for dandelion lessons. And then some people use even handmade paints, you know, so it goes the whole gamut. If you already have supplies, use what you have. If you don't, look for something like this, a little fun crafting student set that has a wide variety of colors that are beautiful. And we typically pick the colors that speak to us that day. I never tell you what colors to use or what paints to use, okay? I also tend to have a little pot of sparkle paint, and you can find those at most crafting supply stores or art supply stores too. This is just a little pot of it that's handmade paint. I think this is called Bronze Star. So there are many types of sparkle paints. I like sparkles. Most people like sparkles. It just lends a little bit. So those are our tools. Now, I usually talk about something that's been on my mind, and you'll see because I've opened up many of the dandelion lessons here on Patreon that you can go back and visit yourself. And I often draw a card that sort of helps me talk about things. And I use either tarot cards or oracle cards, and I use them in a way that's a little bit different than people think about. I do not use tarot cards as divination or to foretell the future or anything like that. To me, they are tools for self-discovery and to help spur my mind to think about something else. It's sort of like a Rorschach ink blot test. You know, you look at an image, this archetypal image, universal image, and you pick out things that matter to you. And it's just sort of kind of interesting how it works. When we see an image of beautiful art, it makes us think of things that are applicable to our life at the moment. That's how I use tarot cards. So I'm going to start by just shuffling my deck. And this is the Fountain Tarot. If you don't have a tarot deck, this is a really beautiful one. It's kind of expensive. I think it's like $40. I've had it a long time. I use it every day. It was a good investment for me. There are many, many tarot decks, and I just recommend, if you are interested in this practice, to find one that appeals to you aesthetically, right? That sort of pulls at your heartstrings a little bit, and that when you look at the images, you can identify with them. So I shuffle very loosely. I don't do anything too fancy. And then I just sort of hold the cards like this, and I let them fall into my hand. And wherever the deck splits, that's the card. So this card is the Eight of Cups. And there is a traditional meaning for this card, but I don't always talk about that. Over the years, I mean, I've been doing this since I was like 13 years old. So over the years, I have sort of decided to read intuitively. I don't think about the traditional meanings anymore. I just look at the image. And when I look at this image today, what I break down what I see in the card. I see sort of an overcast day, a body of water, a man standing at the edge with his back to us. And he looks a little bit forlorn, right? Melancholy. Maybe something has happened in his life. It's giving him a lot of discomfort and stress and worry. But behind him are these 8 cups, okay? And they're full. These cups each have liquid in them. They're full. And they're sort of disappearing into the water that's behind him. So typically water represents our emotions in the tarot. Let me turn off my heater. Hold on one second. So even if we're applying this card to our creative practice, we're thinking sort of in emotional ways. And many of us, probably everyone in the world right now that's connected to the news and understands what many people in the world are going through, and that many people in the world are suffering, and that there's a lot of uncertainty. This card really speaks to that to me. But what it reminds me is that sometimes we're not looking at the silver lining, okay? That we're only seeing the strife and the worry and the struggle, and that sometimes we need to take a pause and think about what we're not seeing, okay? That there are silver linings, that there are full cups for us in some place. We just have to open our eyes and seek them. So maybe that full place for you today is showing up here to begin a new creative practice, something to do and to share with your family or your friends that can help them through these times as well. It's a small thing, but these small things add up. And it has made an immense difference in my own life and gotten me through some pretty rough times. And I've had a pretty rough time over the past month. I had a cervical spine injury, and I have been in a lot of pain and have been housebound for about a month now. Not quite, about a little over 3 weeks. I've been housebound except to go to the doctor and physical therapy and to get acupressure and massage. And it's been really tough. And I have never experienced pain like this in my life. And I've had a lot happen to me in my life. So that's saying something. It's been a journey. And I'm coming out on the other side now. And then all of a sudden find myself having to stay at home again. But you know what? I have been finding the silver linings lately. It took me a while to get there. I'm left-handed, and my whole left hand and arm up to my shoulder are numb. I have a lot of pain in my arm all the time, and I can't hold a pencil or write my name even right now. I can move it, but I can't feel it. So my fine motor skills are gone. And that's kind of a scary thing for someone who earns their living and supports their household based on this hand, very much based on this hand, right? So it's been a little scary, but I found ways that I started to paint with my right hand, and some surprising things have happened. So that speaks to that as well. Look to places that we might not be looking, right? Don't turn our backs on the silver linings. All right. So typically after I talk a little bit, I turn off the camera, I put some beautiful music on, and I paint. And I'm going to do that today. And I don't think about what I'm going to do. I really just wet my brush, and I look at the paints that I've chosen for the day, and I just choose a color that speaks to me at that moment, and I dip my brush in and I begin. So you'll sort of see that process. And I promise you, anyone can do this, anyone, and they always turn out beautiful. They always turn out beautiful because we're painting from a place of our clumsy hearts, right? We're painting from our heart. And anything that we do from our heart, without expectations and with the intention of creating joy and beauty for someone, is always beautiful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and paint. So that wasn't so hard, right? It's so enjoyable. I can't tell you. I really, really hope you'll try it and that you'll share it with the other people that you're near right now. And then when it dries, you can write a little message on the back and tuck it in your bag and send it in the mail to someone, or take it out with you in the world and just hand it to someone who might need a smile. You know, it's just such a beautiful gesture. And when we're done with our dandelion lessons, we often put our signature on it. So you can either sign your name. We use sometimes chops. This is a chop that I've carved. I have a YouTube video about this on my YouTube channel for free. It's called Creating a Monogram. If you look through my videos, you'll find it, and how to create your own monogram. And I use just regular rubber stamp ink, and I just put my chop on it. I like it better than putting my name. I just like that it's a little bit anonymous. I actually sign all of my professional work this way too, except I use a pencil. And then once it's done and it's dry, it's ready to send out into the world. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that sometimes we make two and we keep one for ourselves. You know, you can do that as well. But there's always this element of twofold joy in a dandelion lesson. And I think it's a really important part of it, and I hope you'll partake in that as well. So I want to keep it simple today. You know, from here until we're all okay, I'm going to be sharing my dandelion lessons here on Patreon. So, you know, I'll always post them on Facebook and Instagram, and then you can just take the link and find the latest video. There will be videos that you won't be able to watch because those are for my subscribers. But of course, you're always welcome to join us here as well if it's something that you end up enjoying. It's a really good value. It's $5 a month for a lot of content, and I think it might be the cheapest art lessons in the universe. We do a lot of cool stuff here. But for now, just show up when we have our dandelion lessons and try them. I hope you'll try them. And you can always leave comments under here if you want to talk about anything that was in the lesson. We love to have conversations here, and you will get to know some of the people who are here all the time, and they are some of the most amazing people I know. So I hope you'll engage in any way possible and that you'll share this with others. All right, everyone, please be well. Please take care of one another. Take care of yourself and look for those silver linings. Until next time, thank you so much.